Welcome back to a Sorta Star Wars podcast, the podcast that is sorta about Star Wars and sorta about everything else. Today we are discussing the 6th Star Wars movie to be released, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, on our way to revisiting each Star Wars movie before Episode 9 comes out in December of this year. And with me today I have Mike beside me. Hi, Mike.
Hey.
That would be the mother-father therapist.
Mother-father therapist.
And we have Guacamole. Hi,
Hello.
Molly.
Making me hungry.
And we have
Guacamole.
Bend It Like Bend It.
That's what they call me.
Bend it like bend it.
Dan It Like Bend It. Whoa.
Glad to be here.
Pardon my language. Welcome, Dan, to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
All returning guest hosts here tonight. Is everyone enjoying a beverage?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Dan, what are you
Sir.
drinking?
Southern Tier Brewing Company, 8 days a week. It's just a blonde ale. Southern Tier is from New York, somewhere upper New York, but then they have a brewery in Pittsburgh, where I am, and so yeah, love them.
You get it straight from the source?
I mean, these are just cans, but you know,
Oh.
yeah,
Do you take your can back in for refills?
yeah.
Molly, what do you have? White wine again or something different?
No, it's Cabernet Sauvignon. And
yeah. Oh.
yeah, it's a wine from grapes. I don't know as much as Dan does.
Did it come from
It's
the Napa
red.
Valley?
Probably. I don't know. I don't even
What
remember.
about
Oh,
you,
it's Saint Michel Chateau. I do know that much.
A lot of French words get thrown.
Yes.
out.
Yeah, I know.
I try to be classy.
And Mike?
I'm drinking a donut chape. It's donut shot coffee. It's just decaf. I'm the only Christian here that's not drinking alcohol.
The Lord drank alcohol. He was like, this water's awful, and turned it into wine. So
Exactly. So I think I'm the most.
if anything,
water's-
Molly is the most.
This water's terrible. There needs to be wine. Yeah.
You can't have a party with
He
water.
turned it into Cabernet Sauvignon.
With some, from Saint Michel. Oui, bon appetit.
You got it.
Croissant.
Everyone's like, what are you saying?
Croissant
What are you
ratatouille.
doing, Jesus? Yep.
Anyways,
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking. Oh, I gotta take. It's just out of season.
Mad Elf.
Mad Elf. It's the last Mad Elf. Got a case like 3, 4, 5 months ago, and I'm just finishing it. So, a Christmas present. I got a case of Mad Elf. So, the last one.
It's a good
The
one.
last.
Nice.
So, like I said, we're gonna be talking about Revenge of the Sith on this episode, which is, for those who don't know, is where Anakin turns into Darth Vader. So
Spoiler
pretty
alert.
crucial movie. Spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
spoiler. You didn't even warn them.
I don't think you get a spoiler alert. They
Also,
lifted
the Chancellor is bad.
Mike. Okay, I wasn't gonna go that far.
Yeah.
I still the
Spoiler
only
alert.
episode I've not listened to is the Endgame one, because right away you're like, spoiler. I still haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
that's just
Oh,
sitting in my
man.
feed. The Sort of Star Wars Endgame podcast. I'll get to it eventually.
Have you just like not been on any social media at all? Like, how are you
Yeah, I
not
don't
seeing spoilers
understand.
for Endgame?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just not on social media a ton, and maybe a lot of my friends aren't that into it. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that's cool.
Wait till it's
You'll
free.
see it when it hits the dollar theater. Well, now they're
Bucks there.
re-releasing it. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
are?
Yeah, they re-released it with extra scenes.
What?
Well, there's like scenes, like deleted scenes that they're throwing in the credits, from what I understand,
Oh.
and some extra stuff during the movie. But
Huh.
I think it's all just trying to beat Avatar in the theater.
I thought they already beat it.
I don't think so.
I thought they were number one. Maybe not.
Add us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Put it on the polls. Guillermo, put it on the polls. Did Avatar
Is Jimmy Kimmel?
is
Guillermo?
Avatar still beating Endgame in box office release?
Let's
I don't think
pray
so.
that
I
it
thought Endgame
is.
went number
Yeah.
one all time.
Let's pray, because Avatar was better.
They don't need to get into this. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Okay, so before we talk about Star Wars, we're going to talk about something else quick, but kind of Star Wars related. Last episode, we had a dadding episode for Father's Day,
Yeah.
and we talked about expectations, and I talked about how I don't expect any presents for Father's Day, and Mel doesn't usually get me presents, but this year she got me a present, so that was
Boy,
kinda,
was it something.
The
too.
box.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
The
in a
box.
box, and she made me wait. No, we opened it Saturday.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we went away for the weekend, and
Well,
she wanted
you
me to be able
opened
to
it,
play
not-
it. She said,
not us.
I want you to be able to use it this weekend. I'm like, what am I going to use it for? And so I was surprised. Open the box. It's Star Wars Jedi Challenges, which is a augmented reality game where you get a lightsaber, and you put on the headset, and you put your phone in the headset, and then you like see things as if they're in your own house or your own room, so you can still see your surroundings, but the things that are in the picture are like the first thing you fight Darth Maul, and you have your lightsaber, and he's fighting you, and it looks like he's in the same room with you, which is pretty cool. I did not expect
Do you end up
it
cutting
at
him in
all.
half?
Yeah.
What's that?
Do you end up cutting
No,
him in half?
No. I only faced him on the first level, and eventually he just like walks away and said he'll get me next time. So there's like different tiers of difficulty, and you have to beat everyone on the first tier and then go to the second tier. And so
You were super surprised.
I know, it was crazy. It was like, she said you'll never expect it, and she was right.
That was
I was
definitely
like,
true. Yeah.
it was like the last thing on my radar. So it's pretty cool.
It is.
I beat everyone on the first level, beat Darth Maul on the second level, and now I'm fighting the seventh sister. And honestly, which probably most people, you don't know who the seventh sister is. She's like
A Clone Wars reference.
yeah, it was like these people that Darth Vader sent out to kill all the Jedi, and
Oh, okay.
they're Inquisitors, and she's one of them. Anyways, it's like, it can be tiring. Like, you're there, and like, it's funny, if you play with the lights off, it's even better because like all the characters are more
Vivid.
like vivid,
Yeah.
and like you have to like block their like lightsabers, and you have to duck and turn and stuff like that, and it can get pretty intense and tiring. So
And you're not like a character. You like, do you pick your own lightsaber
Right,
color?
you're
Or
like-
just you.
right, you start off
Yeah.
with a blue lightsaber, and or you can play. They do make a Kylo Ren lightsaber as well, like a separate whole physical lightsaber. But the lightsaber that you get in the box is pretty. I mean, I'm surprised how much it's like. It's the Legacy saber, or like the Anakin's or Luke's,
Skywalker saber.
yeah,
Yeah.
or the one that Rey has now. So you start off with a blue blade, and then you unlock the green blade once you beat everyone on the first difficulty. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Mike played
Yeah.
it a little bit,
Just a
so
little.
yeah,
It's pretty fun.
not
Super awesome.
Not something I expected at all, but
So I have PlayStation VR virtual reality, and in
yeah.
the first Battlefront, there's like an add-on of you in an X-wing. It's like a short X-wing mission, kind of a
Mhm.
demo of
Yeah.
sorts,
Nice.
and it's super fun. But I feel like augmented reality would also be really fun, like that you could see around. And, yeah, do that.
yeah. Well, it's funny because Melody was actually listening to the episode of where I talk about how we went to Pittsburgh to see you guys. And I played that X-Wing game then on the virtual reality, and I was like
That's right.
amazed. Like, I never played that, and it was like crazy. You can look all around and see, all kinds of. I mean, that's the first time I did virtual reality, and it was nuts. And so she heard me talking about that, and then she found this on Amazon, and
So Dan's like pretty much responsible for your.
yeah, thanks,
You
Dan.
can-
Wow!
Yeah.
Happy Father's
Thanks,
Day, man!
Dan.
Yeah.
Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, but it was even just like having the lightsaber was cool. I should have had it ready, but I don't have
Did you
it to show you
build
guys.
build a display over the mantle for it
No,
yet?
I know. I need to like build something out of wood and like display
Every
it in the
time you're
living
done,
room.
you just reverently place it upon the mantle top.
I put it in a little box, like the one in The Force Awakens. So
Oh,
it-
nice.
like it calls to me. Yeah. So yeah, but so that is a Star Wars video game. Anybody else have anything they want to say about Star Wars video games?
Why? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So I want to talk about a new video game coming up that I guess was announced a little while ago, but they showed it at E3, which is this annual
Yeah.
video game conference, Electronic Entertainment Expo, I believe. And so they showed gameplay, I think, for the first time, and
Mhm.
it has me really excited. some Star Wars games I'm a little skeptical of. I have Battlefront 2, but it's been a long time since there's been like a story-driven, you are a Jedi kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks awesome. It's
like
by
Force Unleashed was like the last one.
Yeah, I think that was like 2008 or 2009 or
Yeah.
something. So we're about 10
And
years.
people went nuts for that one. Yeah.
So this one is by Respawn Entertainment. Another reason to be excited. The people who made Titanfall, if you're into video games, or Apex Legends.
Yep.
So they got a good track record. The little description here is a canonical story set during the events after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which we're talking about today. You play as Cal Kestis, a Jedi Padawan on the run from the Empire after his identity as a surviving Force user is revealed. So already a great setup, right?
Yeah.
But the really interesting part, has anybody, I think you guys are into video games, have you guys ever played Bloodborne or Dark Souls, those games?
I haven't done, no.
So
I played Clash of Clans.
okay, it's kind of similar. No. So these games, they're like really intense. They're known for their difficulty, and they're just too like creepy and dark for me. Like I'm just like I can't play this. But the combat in them has always intrigued me, and this Jedi Fallen Order game pulls from that gameplay and design. They said it's like an inspiration from Dark Souls and Bloodborne, where it's like really difficult. You like have these, bosses that are not even bosses, but that like you need to learn their moves. Like there's this awesome, like you like are using your force push and pull, and the one guy you like pull towards you, but he has like a staff, one of the, like it might be one of those purple electric staffs that are in Revenge of the Sith, and he like digs into the ground, so you like can't pull him in. So you got to learn these people, and I think you have a meter with your energy level. So if you like roll around a lot, you run out of that. You got to be careful, and so it's like I'm very excited because it's a game that those Bloodborns and Dark Souls games are highly acclaimed, but too scary for me. So Star Wars Bloodborne type seems like a great combo. But Mike, you heard of it before?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought this up because I'm really excited for this one too. Definitely gonna get it when it comes out. I was afraid when I heard about it, like I didn't know the background with the combat, but I was afraid that it was gonna be like not very long and like a little too easy. Like I don't know, like you're a Force user, you have the Force. Like you can make a really easy game with that, but everything I'm hearing is what you were saying, Dan, said it's gonna be challenging and long, and it's gonna be. I'm excited for it.
And Saw Gerrera's in it as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah,
Saw Gerrera.
I think what they showed was on Kashyyyk. Yeah, and Saw Gerrera shows up on a AT-AT or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I should have written down the release date. I think it's October or November this year.
I think it's November 19th. That's what I want to say.
That seems right.
Swipe up to pre-order.
Yeah. You can do that.
Is it anything like SimCity? Because I'm pretty familiar with that game.
It's more like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I was good at that. On Roller Coaster Tycoon, I used to let people in the park and then put one of those banners up on the entrance that says "Do not enter," so people could never leave the park. That's how you like.
Or you delete the walkway.
Or you delete the walkway so people can never leave. Yeah. Or you put a hole so that people just fall into the hole.
You got pretty dark pretty quick.
Like in The Sims when you didn't want to be married to the person anymore. You just put them in the swimming pool, then delete the ladder. They can never get out. But it kind of sounds like a game that me and Molly used to play that we were just talking about earlier. Last night we were talking about it.
You and me?
Matrix. Yeah, Matrix.
Oh,
what was that game?
Yeah.
I forget what it was even called.
I don't know, but
Matrix
it was like
game.
My all-time favorite video
that
game.
me and Molly used to play.
I didn't even know what the Matrix was because I was telling him that yesterday or 2 days ago. I just watched it for the first time. Well, I watched it in 2 parts. So, anyways, and so it made me think of the video game, and I was like, the video game makes so much more sense now. But I loved that game so much. Such a good.
But when you were
one.
talking about using like the Force and stuff, you could like, as you like did stuff as your character, you could like build up focus. They called it.
Yeah.
And then once you like build up enough focus, you could like do stuff in slow
Dodge the
motion
bullets and all that stuff.
Yeah, like
Stop the bullets.
Stop the bullets. Backflips and somersaults.
A bunch of CGI Agent Smiths.
Tumble sets.
Yeah.
Tumble sets. Anyways,
Yeah.
So I look forward to playing Fallen Order at Mike's house.
I'll bring it over. We'll play through it. I think there's a co-op. Can you do co-op on it? Do you know, Dan?
I haven't heard, but potentially, I think it's more single player focused.
Is there gonna be a VR version of it?
Not that I know of.
But if I remember correctly, you can play any game on VR. It's just like the screen's like right in front of your face. It just like is annoying after a while, right?
Yeah. You kind of like are in this like movie. It looks like this huge screen in front of you, but it's still flat. There's no like 3D elements, which is the main draw of VR games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't use that just to play normal games.
But it kind of reminds me, like playing that VR reminded me of like most of the Black Mirror episodes, and there's a new season out where there's like a VR where you just like put something on the side of your head and you go into VR and
Mollie's like, nope.
I hate that episode so much. I hate it.
Wait, there was one that just came out. Did you watch it?
Yeah, the one with the thing on the side of the head and the two guys.
Yeah, it was so weird.
I hated every minute of it. After I watched that one, I was like, I'm never watching another episode.
Yeah. Well, there's one with Miley Cyrus yet, so you need to watch that.
Yeah,
one.
but I watched 3 episodes of Black Mirror. I gave it 3 chances. After that VR one, I was like, I can't do it. I was in a bad mood the rest of the day.
Yeah, that one was a little rough. So not my favorite episode.
I fast forwarded most of that episode.
All right. Well, let's get on to our talk of Revenge of the Sith. So, let's start off with where you guys ranked this movie in out of all 10 Star Wars movies. Where did this one fall for you guys? Molly, why don't you start?
It depends. So like on my ranking, it's 3rd.
Okay.
But if I'm having a really bad day, it's 1st. It's the movie I go to when I'm having a really bad day because then I feel better about myself because like my husband's not choking me to death, So I feel better about my life.
It's
He's
a real
not turning into
feel-good
an
kind of
evil
movie.
lord. And what?
Oh, hang on, Mike.
iPad stuff. Apple.
What happened?
There we go. Sorry. Pop up
No
on
problem.
the iPad.
Yeah, that's really annoying. Apple, my iPad decided to now send me a notification. Finish setting up your iPad. Like, no, not now. Not in the middle of a Skype call am I going to finish putting a passcode on my iPad. What in the world? So we're using our iPad to Skype with, and I checked it this morning, and I was like, oh, good, there's like 500 megabytes of storage. I was like, well, if I'm going to record this video, I should make some more storage. So I just like backed up and restored the whole thing and got rid of any of the apps I didn't want. And so now it's telling me to set up the iPad. So
And Apple's falling to pieces now that Johnny Ive's gone.
now that Johnny Ive is gone,
It's
my
just falling apart.
iPad Air doesn't work as well. Since Johnny Ive is left. Molly, what were you saying? It depends on the day because
if
it's
I'm
a
having
feel-good
a really
movie.
bad day, I just watch that movie and it makes me feel better about my life because my husband's not turning into an evil lord or trying to choke me to death.
Yeah.
But on a normal
That
day,
you
it's
know
number
of.
That
That you know. Padme didn't know either, Molly.
That's true. This is true. But it's number 3 on a normal day.
Okay. Dan, what about you? Where'd you put it?
Well, I'm shocked that me and Guacamole, after all of our disagreements, are pretty close. I have it as number 2. Number
nice.
2. It's
nice.
I really enjoy it.
Right in
What
front of
is
the
the
Clone
one
Wars.
that beat it?
Rogue One. Rogue One. And I will say, though, both Rogue One and Revenge of the Sith end so well. The beginnings and middles, I think, are still great, but like I think I always have a fonder memory of them because they both have like amazing, final half hours or what, great last scenes, and so I always leave those being more excited. So, but yeah, those are my favorite. How about you guys?
Mike?
This one's number 1 for me.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my favorite. Yeah, and it's a mix of nostalgia in the movie, but I think like last time, Dan, you were talking about episode 1 being like the first Star Wars movie you like saw in theaters and you saw it a bunch of times. That was episode 3 for me. I remember seeing the previews, and my cousin and I went and saw it in theaters, and yeah, it was awesome. So
Nice.
played the video game, episode 3 video game.
Lego or regular?
Yeah, Lego. I was like,
Regular. Yeah. And I
Nice.
went back and looked at video of it online today before I came here.
Oh, the
Doesn't look
video
near
game.
as good as I
Yeah.
remember it, but it's really fond memories of that game.
Yeah.
It was good. So yeah,
Um,
number 1.
Where did I put it here? I put it as number 6.
Ooh, why do you hate
Man,
Revenge of the
so
Sith so
far
much,
down.
Ryan? You are
I just-
hating on this movie.
I just think you don't need it. No, just kidding.
There's no important
Yeah,
story.
like what
plots
happens
here.
in this movie? You could just skip it. That's like people who say you can just skip Phantom Menace. I'm like, you guys are nuts. But yeah, I don't know. I don't
What's
know
right
why.
above it? What's at your number 5 spot?
Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
And Force Awakens and Rogue One, Phantom Menace, and A New Hope all beat it.
Wow.
Wow,
So-
Phantom Menace beat it. Okay.
Phantom Menace is
That's-
number
that's
2.
That's a nostalgia.
Phantom
for
Menace
you,
and
though.
New Hope are probably tied for number
Yeah.
1, but since I can't have that,
All right.
so nice. All right, let's go to our top 3 favorite parts of the movie, or things about the movie, scenes, songs, characters.
Can we start with
themes.
honorable mentions?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
a good idea.
we'll do that.
'Kay.
Molly, since you brought it up, do you have any honorable mentions, Molly?
I do. So I love this part so much, and it's just a little tiny part, but when Anakin and Obi-Wan get captured by General Grievous and they're like in his little like pilot area, whatever that thing is called. You know what I mean?
The bridge.
Like,
The bridge.
thank
yeah.
you. The bridge.
Yeah.
There's a droid who's like took their lightsabers. And he like walks behind Obi-Wan and he's like, "Excuse me." And then he like walks over to General Grievous and gives him the lightsabers and he's like, "You're welcome." After he like snatches them.
Oh,
Because
I just
Grievous
think
doesn't
it's
even
so
say
funny.
thank you. You're welcome. Yeah.
And there's
I
like
don't know if
another
I
part in
noticed
that
that
same
before, but yeah.
time. Oh, what?
I said I noticed that this time. I don't know if I would have remembered that if I wouldn't have just watched it yesterday. So
And in that same scene, like Obi-Wan and Anakin like killed all the droids, and these two droids like look at each other, and the one is just like, "Run!" Like,
Yeah.
run away.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think they're so funny in that scene. You're
Droids always
welcome.
have some good lines, yeah.
yeah, I feel like they were just supposed to be comedic almost the whole time. Like even the Phantom Menace, they were kind of like a joke.
Yeah.
But they didn't talk in that. Well, they didn't talk as much.
Yeah, like
In the
after that,
first
they
two
kind of
movies.
became like a gag. I think after Phantom Menace. But
Yeah.
I have a droid quote in my honorable mentions. Can I go for it?
yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
So this is one that I like really wanted to do while my wife was like giving birth, just like 6 months ago. But the ooh ba ooh ba.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I always think about that quote, just
calming
like at random
tones.
times. Yes. So droid quotes in the honorable mentions here for Revenge of the Sith.
Nice.
My
Nice.
From the end of the movie, right?
yeah, it's right at the end.
Yeah.
Ooh, bah. And Obi-Wan's like, it's a boy. Like
He
oh.
speaks droid nurse
Yeah,
talk.
how does he?
Yeah.
How does he know that?
And then my other one is Chancellor Palpatine going, "I am the Senate." That that line there, and like the memes of like, I tell myself I'm not going to go into politics at Thanksgiving dinner, and then like 2 drinks later, it's like I am the Senate.
Yeah, that said it.
I like the one. I like
Senate.
the meme of he says I am the Senate, and then the next like thing they show is him throwing the Senate chairs at Yoda, and then it has Padme saying you are what you swore to defend or something like that. You have become what you swore to. What is it?
Yeah, something.
I don't
along those
know.
lines.
But you are becoming what you swore to destroy. I think is what it is.
Oh,
Padme says it. I
He's
think.
destroying the Senate.
But yeah. So he
Yeah.
says I am the Senate, yet he's destroying the Senate.
nice.
You guys have honorable mentions?
Yeah, I do. I kind of have 2, but one's gonna go off of Dan. When you said about the I'm the Senate, my my one was just all of Chancellor Palpatine's doings and his lines and stuff. I just love the way Ian McDermott plays him in this movie. He's like so like evil and creepy, and he just I love
Yeah.
it.
So manipulative.
Yeah, so good.
And Anakin's so easy to manipulate. It's almost
Yeah.
embarrassing. Like
Yeah,
he's like
his
such an
turn is a bit
emotional
abrupt.
person.
I guess we'll get there.
Yeah.
But my other one would be the snarkiness of Obi-Wan Kenobi when he's fighting General Grievous.
Which part?
So he like jumps down. He's like, "Hello there."
Yeah.
And then he's like witty banter, and then at the end throws the blaster aside. So uncivilized.
Civilized. Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
Well, I had one honorable mention. When Yoda and Palpatine are fighting, and Yoda force pushes him, and he flips over his desk, and then flips over his chair right after, and he's like butt up in the air, and he's like,
so
he's
good.
like,
For a
this is, like,
split
weird
second, it looks like
for-
America's Funniest Home Videos.
I know.
It just
It's
doesn't
just funny to
fit.
see like someone so evil, like getting like
Yeah.
their butt turned up in the air.
Yeah.
Like how embarrassing.
Oh yeah. Speaking of witty banter, Yoda has some sick burns in that scene too. Sick Yoda burns.
When he like blocks the doorway and says, if so powerful
if
are
you
you,
are-
then why are you?
Via leave or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So good. Oh no. The Mad Elf is loose.
I spilled some Mad Elf. Yeah, lick it off the table.
Lap it up.
I guess we'll just leave it there for now.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
I had one more honorable
Your
mention.
desk is
Am I
pretty
allowed
level.
To say it?
Yeah.
Okay. While you clean up your Mad Elf.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other part that I liked, and I never really realized how it, I thought it was really funny this time, but when they, land the ship, when Anakin lands, Grievous's ship, and then Obi-Wan goes, another happy landing.
Happy landing.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I just was like, that's just a funny thing to say.
It was, yeah, normally I would think that's funny, but this time, watching it with Melody, she took notice that as they're crash landing, they, knock over, the tower.
Yeah.
And probably kill a
she's
bunch
like,
of people.
oh, those people are dead. And then everyone's like, another happy landing.
landing.
I was like, oh, well, at least our main character survived. So
I just
That's
tell
all we
myself
really
there's
care
no one
about.
in that tower. It was just droids.
It was lunch break.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I wish they would have gone back to that and just shown one guy sitting in an office chair, just eyes wide as the rest of the building was just wiped away and he's just sitting there. I think that would have been good. They should have added that in. It's headcanon. All right, let's go to our any more honorable mentions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's go to our third favorite scenes. Hopefully you numbered them. Or third favorite
I did.
things about the movie. So I'm sure there will be some overlap here.
Mm-hmm.
I think me and Mike's especially will overlap when it comes to number one, but maybe not.
Number one.
Yeah, but maybe not.
I
We'll
don't
see.
know.
We'll
I don't
wait
think
and
you
see.
will. I think you're gonna be surprised at my number one. Maybe.
Can't wait. I'm anxious.
You're anxious. You're anxious,
I'm
oh, what's
scared.
gonna happen?
Well, to make the audience more anxious, let's break for a sponsor ad before we go into our favorite parts. So, here's a word from our sponsors. And we're back. Thank you, sponsor. Let's go to our third favorite scenes. Who should start? Eeny, meeny, miny, Dan. Dan it like Beckham.
Yeah, great. All right, so my third favorite scene in Revenge of the Sith is the scene, I don't even know where it is, but of Chancellor Palpatine and Anakin talking, and they're watching that weird bubble water entertainment
Uh-huh.
thing, and just like what Mike was saying earlier, just the manipulation going on there, the political intrigue. You get a little history of the Sith. There's that weird music that's just the didgeridoo, kind of wah,
Yeah.
and there's people are clapping. It's this dreamy state, and I just think it looks really cool. Whatever's going on there took some creativity for for them to be showing up. Imagining in this galactic world, people showing up to watch something like a circus almost, or I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
But it's just a really cool scene in the middle of it. That's not as in your face. It's a slower part.
Yeah.
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 I feel like you'd
And-
almost have to be smoking death sticks to figure out what's going on.
You
in,
want to
the
buy some
middle
death sticks?
You don't want to
of
send
that.
me test.
I don't. It's so psychedelic. It's I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening here. It does seem like kind of a weird thing to sit and watch.
Mhm.
Are there people or beings in there? I can't tell, or if it's just
I think so.
light and water and.
I thought I heard it was Mon Calamari.
Oh really?
That's what I thought I heard somewhere. I don't
Oh.
know if that was on one of the other Star Wars podcasts.
You listen to other Star Wars
Oh man, found me out. I gave myself up. Yeah,
but okay, related
I don't
though.
know. Anyways,
I was gonna ask you guys. So, can you explain to us more modest Star Wars fans a little bit more about Darth Plagueis? Because it's like reference there, but they don't go into it that much. I know you've read a book or So, what? Remind me again. I feel like maybe you mentioned him on this podcast before, but
Well, he was so wise and so powerful
that he losing his power.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that
I'll
book
let you-
isn't actually canon, but I mean, we can talk about Darth Plagueis.
There's nothing in it that would like
Yeah.
contradict anything.
Yeah. So
Sidious was referring
in-
to himself killing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sidious is referring.
Oh, he's- yeah.
Sidious was the
Apprentice.
apprentice of Darth Plagueis, and what I got from the book was that, and I don't know if this is out for speculation or not, but that Darth Plagueis was trying to manipulate the Force to keep himself alive and also just to create life, and he was basically trying to impregnate women with the Force, because he like talks about capturing women and keeping them in his like workshop. I don't know what he calls it, but anyways, so that's kind of where I got the idea that Anakin was formed of the Force by Darth Plagueis.
Yeah,
Anakin was formed by
Go ahead, Molly.
Palpatine.
No, but Darth Plagueis is the one that knew how to do this. Palpatine never figured out how to do this. He
that was
couldn't
all
do
part
it.
of the
Yeah,
kind
he
of part of his
did.
deception.
No. No.
I don't think so.
Well, not
Agree to
this
disagree.
book makes it seem otherwise.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not canon.
The-
And
the way-
Plagueis was
yeah.
able to he wasn't able to keep himself alive as much as keep himself young. Much like Tuck Everlasting.
Man.
It all comes around.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. No, that's
So
Yeah,
actually,
that's good.
I understood a little bit a different way. I understood it that Plagueis didn't create Anakin,
Okay.
but all the stuff he was doing in the dark side with the Force, you know how they talk about the Force has to be balanced, and so he was doing all this dark side stuff,
Okay.
and so I think I forget where I heard this, but the theory is that because he was doing all this dark side stuff, trying to keep himself alive, get power, create life, whatever, the Force itself, to balance out all the dark side stuff he was doing, created Anakin to bring balance to the Force. And that's why the Force conceived Anakin.
I guess that works.
But it was kind of like because of Darth Plagueis
yeah.
doing all his
So,
experiments and stuff.
Yeah, so Darth Plagueis actually found Palpatine when he was just a teenager, and Palpatine was just figuring out his powers, and he was born in this like political
Regular old
family.
psychopath.
Yeah. And there was
Yeah.
like stuff within the family that was bad, and he ended up killing his entire family. And so Plagueis found him, I guess, through like a disturbance in the Force, and sought him out and like taught him the ways of the dark side. And like some of the stuff that Plagueis taught Palpatine through the stuff he did to him to teach him stuff, and then that stuff, the same things that Palpatine did to Maul, was just like ridiculously like awful stuff.
Yeah.
So,
If you really want to get a sense of like how terrible the dark side is, go read the Plagueis book,
Yeah.
because I listened to an audiobook and I was like, oh, this is like,
yeah,
because like in the movies they're like, oh, it's bad, and I think episode 3 is probably the darkest that it gets,
Yeah.
pretty much. But yeah, if you really want to like kind of understand that, go.
there's
read
like
the Plagueis book. It's pretty.
I know
pretty
in
intense.
in Return of the Jedi, the part I thought about this when reading the book, the part where Palpatine is using Force lightning on Luke, and Luke is like begging for him to stop, like begging, and Palpatine is not stopping. They talk about that same thing happening when Plagueis is teaching Palpatine and when Palpatine is teaching Darth Maul. It's like, use Force lightning, and no matter what they say, you don't stop doing whatever you're doing. Like, they have to literally be next to dead before you stop. And like, you have no mercy. You show no mercy. So it
Yeah.
gets really dark in that
It
book.
does. It's really
And-
interesting though.
Yeah.
Yeah. One
But-
of my favorite books. Sure.
So then Plagueis figures out how to stay alive longer, and he's got he's part of the banking clan, so he's got buku bucks, and so it takes
survives an assassination attempt, all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
and Palpatine
Yeah.
becomes his apprentice, and then eventually, Palpatine has this plan. He finds Darth Maul and takes on Darth Maul as a assassin, not like an apprentice. And then eventually has this plan to take over the entire Senate and take over everything. And obviously Plagueis was in the way. So one night when Plagueis is drunk, I think.
Yeah.
Palpatine just chokes him to death. So he
Cool.
doesn't kill him
Thank
in
you.
his sleep like the movie says. So
Yeah.
yeah, question here in the front. You with the hair.
No, that's a really good book. Go read it. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Swipe up to read it.
Yeah, or listen to it. That's also good.
Okay, so I have not a question, but a comment that Mike made me think of. So, Mike, you said that you thought Anakin was born to bring balance to the Force, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't know how I feel about what you just said, but the balance of the Force thing
no.
I thought was interesting
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Yoda, and I never thought about this line until today when I watched it, but he's like, they're talking about the prophecy and they're like, he is the chosen one, right? He is supposed to bring balance to the Force. And then, he's supposed to destroy the Sith to bring balance to the Force. And then Yoda says, a prophecy misread, perhaps.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, first of all, you can't destroy the Sith and have balance because it's just unbalanced to the good side.
Yeah.
And then I thought about the prophecy being misread, and I initially was like, maybe that's what this last Star Wars movie is going to be about, they picked the wrong chosen one, and now this is the real chosen one, bringing
Palpatine
balance
is,
to
you
the
mean?
Force. What?
Palpatine's the new chosen one, you mean?
No, in the one that's about to come out, the
Right,
Rise
yeah.
of Skywalker. I thought maybe that's the balance that's going to come. Maybe that's what the prophecy was talking about.
Raylo.
Yeah.
Yin yang.
But I thought it was interesting, Mike, that you said by him being born that brought balance to the Force. So maybe that's where the prophecy was misread. That he
Right,
already
yeah.
brought balance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also,
Okay.
another plug for books if you want to know more about the prophecy stuff. Master and Apprentice talks a lot about that because Qui-Gon and Dooku were super into prophecies and stuff, and it talks a lot about how they interpret them, and kind of it would make a lot of sense with Yoda's comment because Yoda has a lot of similar comments in that book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good thought.
Just something to think about.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm not even sure how we got onto that. Oh, talking about Plagueis. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've only done one favorite scene
The
so
opera
far,
scene.
so
The opera scene.
it's gonna be
All
a
right,
3-hour
Mollie.
episode, I think.
Well, you're up. What is your
Third favorite, right?
Yep.
So, I really like all the callbacks in this movie. I felt like this movie does a lot of callbacks to the original trilogy. So, right off the bat, her hair,
Oh yeah.
Padme's hair,
Padme has
callback to
the
Leia.
buns. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there were a few other ones that stuck out to me, but the first time you see the Emperor right at the beginning, he's in the chair and the war is going
Right.
on outside,
Yeah.
and that's a callback, I think, to episode 6.
Yeah. I didn't
And
think about
then some more obvious ones like Chewie, obviously, when Chewbacca shows up.
Goodbye, Chewbacca.
that. Yeah. Out of
and
all the
then-
Wookiees, it was convenient that Chewbacca was the main one that Yoda interacted with.
Yeah.
And then 2 more I noticed was Senator Organa, right?
Yeah.
He is in his ship. He's like, maybe we can stop more of these people, or maybe we can get in touch with Jedi at the end of the movie so that they don't walk into this
Right.
thing. And there's a girl behind him in a white dress, same ship, similar white dress. I feel like it's looks like Leia
Right.
again.
Right.
And then the last one that I really liked was when Senator Palpatine is talking to Anakin when he reveals himself as a Sith. And he closes his eyes and he's like, I can feel your anger. I can feel your hate. And it's
I love that part.
identical to what he
focus.
says to Luke.
Focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just
So-
like,
Yeah.
I can feel your anger. Like, why does he have to talk like that?
I don't know.
Gives you focus.
So good.
But-
though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I just felt like that was like identical to what he says to Luke. Very similar, anyways. So
Yeah.
so many callbacks that I thought were cool.
Nice. Yeah.
very cool.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah. Mine is actually kind of strange. It's a really small. It's only a couple seconds long, but one of my favorite parts is during the beginning battle when Obi-Wan, when they're flying into General Grievous's ship, and they, of course, Anakin does the barrel roll and shoots out the shields, and then they fly in, and Obi-Wan's
Yeah.
Starfire crashes, and then he pops open the canopy and does the Force flip out, and takes out all the droids.
Like his ship is like spinning on the ground.
Yeah, and he's like,
and he pops out. Yeah.
yeah, I love that shot. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
favorite parts. Actually, that whole first scene is really cool. I think it's a really cool way to open the movie up. Yeah.
And I feel like Revenge of the Sith is it's the jump from like looking like CGI stuff looking like rough to like it finally starts looking good. I was noticing
Yeah.
like I feel like in Revenge of the Sith there's some weird like backdrops that look just so like barren and plasticky, like while they're walking through the Jedi halls or whatever that stuff is. It just like looks weird. But like that kind of stuff, like it now looks like believable more. Him jumping out, and they did a good job. It seemed like a big jump from 2 to 3.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. 2, they were really like, you could definitely like the whole droid factory scene and everything. Like they were like, and I was just listening recently. They were experimenting with stuff. Like they were pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like they finally kind of like the technology kind of caught up with what they wanted to do. So that whole first scene looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my third favorite scene is, I would say third favorite part is the montage. I call it a montage at the end of the movie, where it's kind of like wrapping up the movie, kind of. So it's a part where like Vader and the Emperor are like looking out the front of the Star Destroyer, and they see the Death Star, in the midst of being built, and you can see Tarkin there for like a split second before he walks away, and it just reminds me a lot of like the original trilogy with Darth Vader looking out. And then at the same time, you see the twins going to their different places. You see like Leia being taken to the Organas, I guess. I don't know. And Luke going to the Lars, and like Obi-Wan hands him to Owen, and he's like standing up on that mound that Luke ends up standing at later, and the suns are setting, and the Force theme is playing.
Well, that Anakin stands on too in
and
episode
Anakin,
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I thought like all those things together just like set it up really well to go into A New Hope, because a lot of those same things are happening in A New Hope. And yeah, I just like how well they set it up there using those types of things. So
Very cool.
all right, so how about second favorite parts of the movie? Dan, why don't you start off?
Okay. I feel like there's going to start to get more overlap here, but and I'm trying to think maybe I should make it more specific, but the Yoda Darth Sidious battle in general, starting with Yoda walking in the door, just knocking out those red guards like immediately.
I love that scene.
Quick.
Like, boom. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, that was fun. And then I think the more iconic is them in the Senate, and they're flying those discs back and forth, and it was just like a really cool scene. We talked about you guys talked about, I wasn't on that episode 2, like Yoda becoming like this awesome, crazy CGI jumping around, character, and he just becomes even cooler. So,
Yeah. That part I like, but it also kind of frustrates me that Yoda loses, which, I mean, he has to lose for the story to match up. And we've talked about this before, how, like who is more powerful, actually, Yoda or Palpatine? Because Yoda's been doing this for 860 years, and Palpatine's been doing it for, 30 years. Like, I would think that Yoda would have an edge on Palpatine for sure. But I don't know. I just kind of get
he's
frustrated.
got the youth. Palpatine's got the youth.
Yeah, I guess so. He's like picking up the seats and he's throwing them at Yoda left and right, and it takes all Yoda's focus to catch one, and he's got to take like 30 seconds to start spinning it, like Sidious doesn't take time to spin them. Just throw the thing. Like, what does it matter? Just throw it.
Is there a difference though between throwing it up and throwing them down?
Yeah, maybe.
gravity. Yeah.
But Sidious is just like standing there, like he's just like waiting for it to be thrown at him, and then he just like kind of jumps to the side. Whoa! Sidious is such a strange character. He's like,
Hey, don't knock on my second favorite scene here, man.
No. Actually, well, spoiler alert. That's actually my first favorite.
Okay.
That's actually my favorite scene in the whole movie. Anyways, but the way it ends with Yoda falling down and then Sidious like hanging off the
He's
side.
like,
"Ah!"
it's like
I was
typical
like- I was like,
Sidious.
okay, Yoda, just like get back in there and like force push.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel like
that's
if
all
it
you
was
gotta
like,
do.
I feel like if like Chevy Chase was an evil guy, this would be like Darth Sidious. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I love
Falling over
I love
chairs
the
and-
way Ian McDermott plays him in the movie. But there's like certain scenes like that, and then when he's doing the lightsaber duel with Mace Windu, where like
He's like,
I like I didn't need those close-ups on his face where he's like, "Arr," like you know, it's just yeah, like I love that fight too, but it's like those scenes make it like, oh man, like could have been a little better
yeah,
without
for
those
sure.
close-ups, but yeah,
good
anyways.
scene, Dan.
Yeah, I'll talk more about that. Number one.
Obviously made someone's number one, so it
Yeah.
has to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Like that one.
What about you, Molly?
Let me get my notebook here. Anything that has Grievous. Oh, I just love General Grievous so much. I really like the part where he like takes his little cloak off and then his arms detach and
Yeah.
he has his 4 lightsabers and what is that guy? He's awesome.
Yeah,
I
don't
remember
know.
seeing that in theaters, and there was like audible gasps that went
Yeah.
around when that happened. Like, and he ignited the 4 lightsabers. You were like, oh
Yeah.
snap!
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And then everyone does his like
He's like
Jedi pose.
Who, Obi-Wan?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. With like the 2 fingers.
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
what
good.
is that?
I don't know.
he's channeling the Force.
And where does Grievous come from too? You know, again, give a little history lesson here.
Well, he was brought up in the Clone Wars animated series.
Yeah, there's nothing in canon, I don't think, about his background, but he's some kind of he was an
Cyborg.
animal that became a cyborg. I
Yeah,
forget.
I think that pretty much is all that's left of him is like that inner part of his, the part that catches on fire eventually, and
His
his,
eye.
and
And his
his
like
face.
He's made of
eyeballs,
fuel.
yeah, his eye
Yeah, and his
sockets or
face.
something.
Like everything else is just mechanical. So
Yeah.
I still remember a scene in the Clone Wars where it's just like his head basically walking around because like the rest of his body is like gone, and I was like, oh, this guy's
Yeah.
so weird. Like I don't know.
I think they introduce him in a great way in this movie. He comes in like coughing, and when you
Yeah.
first look at him, you just think he's a straight droid. So right away, it's like, oh, there's something different and interesting
Right.
about him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like
He's like he smoked too many packs of cigarettes. Like that's just what his cough
His
reminds me
smoker's
of.
lung.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of that
And when
shirt
he,
that you
like-
had, Molly, when you were running that Disney marathon or the Star
Oh,
Wars
yeah,
Dark Side.
Yeah.
It said,
Don't worry, I'm not wheezing. It's just my General Grievous impression.
yeah, that's so good. Such a good shirt.
But I also like the part where he like falls and then he's like on all fours.
Oh, yeah.
And then he gets like
And the
real
skirt
creepy because then he's like
scurries away.
crawling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he does like the front flip into his like unicycle.
Slash
Cycle.
4-legged thing.
Yeah, it's like it has
Yeah.
like 4 legs
It's a
and
pretty
then
sweet vehicle.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Obi-Wan's on like this
Fractal.
lizard. Is that what it is? A
Yeah.
fractal?
I find that yip
Yeah,
of that
Master and
lizard so
Apprentice.
annoying.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really? It's not very sneaky, that's
Ah,
for sure.
See, this is where you got to read Master and Apprentice because Obi-Wan rides when he's a Padawan, which Qui-Gon rides one of
okay.
those in that book. Anyways.
On Utapau or somewhere else?
No, somewhere else.
Oh.
Anyways, I won't say much more. But
Yeah, don't ruin it for me.
Ah. Utapau.
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 you do.
All right, Mike, how about you?
My second.
Oh, to back up. Those characters, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
On that scene in Utapau with the lizard and Grievous, the guy that comes up and he's like part of the banking clan, he's got like the weird teeth, and he's like, they're keeping us hostage. 10th level. You know, that is what Plagueis is.
I don't think
Isn't
so.
it?
No, that's not immune.
Oh.
I don't think.
Well, that's the banking clan. And the Munes are the banking clan.
Yeah, but that guy wasn't immune.
I don't know. Guillermo, put it on the polls.
I don't think
Is the
he's
guy
immune.
in Utapau
I don't
immune?
know. Get Wikipedia up.
Is it Plagueis' great-grandson? Possibly. Swipe up.
Ryan was
I don't
watching it with me and just goes, "That guy has weird teeth."
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not. Maybe
I don't think he's
not.
immune.
Immune to what?
I was about to say that. Man.
All right, Mike, your second favorite.
My second favorite is the Anakin Obi-Wan duel. I mean, everyone. I'm gonna guess that someone's number one, maybe.
I'm not going to give it away.
Faux show.
Yeah,
I'm not going to give it away, but it's not my second favorite.
yeah. I mean, that was. I mean, it's you make us rank these, and it's like I can't rank this. So I put it second only because there's a couple parts in it that it just is a little too much. I think sometimes for me, like a little too dramatic and like scripted. Like they're swinging on the ropes, and I'm like, I don't know. I just like it more of like a straightforward thing. Now I know that you're gonna say the Yoda, the Yoda Sidious one is also the same way, but
I think most of the parts are scripted.
yeah, I mean, it just feels like
I would
a
say the
little
whole
too
movie,
much.
actually.
I love it.
Yeah.
But I think like that's just like captured
Yeah,
in the
I
1
can see it.
second part where they're literally like standing real close to each other and just swinging their lightsabers,
Not
and
even
then
hitting each other.
go together, which I mean looks awesome.
It's the art of distraction. Like,
Yeah.
see, let's like look at this fist over here. And then
So all you're gonna do is complain about your second favorite scene. Let's get to the parts you like. All right.
he's got to like defend
Yeah.
it before we
No,
even say anything about it.
I mean, that's why I had to just say why it's second favorite.
Right.
Okay. Here's everything I hate about my second favorite scene.
But well, the music, love the music.
Mm-hmm.
Best part about that is when they're on the bridge, and like the music like kind of crescendos when they go into that. I don't know. They're like locking their hands, and then like the lava comes up.
Yeah.
I think it was one of like the frames that they use for like promotional pictures. Anyways,
Yeah.
It's on the poster.
is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it in my bedroom.
Noise.
Yeah,
Noise,
so
noise, noise,
good.
noise, noise.
I don't know, just like the ferocity and like the way they're, it just is, and like they used to be friends, and
Yeah.
the whole backstory.
It's like
is
the whole
just-
time they're fighting, you're like, are they really like trying to kill each other? Because that
you
seems
can
so
kind of
strange.
tell like Obi-Wan's like not really,
He
like he's
doesn't want-
trying, but
right.
like he doesn't want to, and
Yeah.
Anakin's like going all out, and
Yeah.
like the scene where he has him down, like he like, how do I describe? I think they're on the table in the room where
Oh
he killed
yeah,
all the people,
he's like bending.
and he's like bending
Obi-Wan
him
over
down.
backwards.
Yeah, and then he does a cool like kick in the
Yeah.
head. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, and then see, this is why it's so hard to, because like the ending part of the, not the actual duel, but the ending part where after Anakin gets his arm and legs cut off,
Yeah.
and Obi-Wan has his lines about him
Yeah.
being the chosen one. That one
Mhm.
gets you every time. So good. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's my second.
Nice.
Yeah.
My second favorite is would be the opening scene when they're it's just Obi-Wan and Anakin. They're flying over the cruiser, and then they come up over the front of the cruiser, and you just see the huge battle below. It's like kind of peaceful at first with them flying over the cruiser. It's just the two of them, and then they go over, and you see this epic battle happening
That's
below.
such a sick shot.
And it's just kind of like, it's just like everywhere that you look, there's just like chaos going on. And it just like makes me think about like, for some reason it made me think this time that like, oh yeah, in space, like your enemies can come from literally any direction. Whereas like a normal battle, you know, it's like the sky or the ground. But this is like from any direction, anywhere. And I was just like, made me think about how chaotic space battles would be. And I don't know, it's just, even just Obi-Wan and Anakin are just a small part of this huge battle that's happening.
yeah.
It's just what's interesting to think about. But I just like that the music, and then they come over the front, and then you see this huge battle. It's like, oh, this is what a war looks like. So
Yeah.
Mhm. I was reminded of, in our Phantom Menace episode, we talked about the like droid decals or whatever those
Yeah.
things are called, and be like, why
Droid
why can they not just like have a lot more of those? Because they always like tear up, and there's
Right.
nothing to do. And I thought the same for that scene at the beginning of episode 3, where like the one of those little droid fly things shoots 2 like of those blue homing missiles.
Right.
It's like, is that the
Yeah.
only homing missiles out there? It seemed to cause a lot of problems. If they just all had some, it would.
I was gonna say, if every ship, I was thinking about that exact same thing. It's like if every one of those vulture droids had 4 of those honing missiles, they should just all fire them all at once. And like,
Yeah, buzz droids would like tear up.
well, and
literally.
buzz droids.
I mean, that's
yeah.
what's in them,
Yeah.
right? That
No, we're
was-
talking about the blue ones.
The-
And
Anakin
when
gets
they're
these
doing
blue
those barrel
missiles shot
roll,
at
yeah,
him.
he like keeps rolling,
Yeah,
rolling, and then
they're
they
buzz
like
droids.
explode.
Oh, okay. Inside of those, yeah, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. Anakin makes them like run into each other. Obi-Wan's go in front of him and
explode
blow
it.
up,
Yeah,
and then the buzz
and then-
droids land
right.
on him. I don't know if the other two have
I was
buzz
thinking
droids.
the other ones were buzz droids, but they just blew up
Mm.
because
Yeah,
it is
essentially.
spinny thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And also the like white like shield that stops them in the middle of the hallway, and they
Yeah.
like literally can't do anything. I was like, dude,
Why don't
like,
they
why
use
don't they
that
have
more
this
often?
installed everywhere? That would have caused the movies would have ended a lot earlier if like
Yeah.
the Death Star
Yeah.
had those.
Just like every 10 feet have them.
Yeah. The scenes in the elevator when they're carrying Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan.
and Palpatine.
Yeah.
I was like, Palpatine's super durable. Like,
Yeah.
he's like this old guy, and they like.
Well, he's also
swing,
Sith
they're
Lord.
like, fall, well, yeah,
But
I
he's
guess.
like holding on to Anakin's leg. Anakin has Obi-Wan on his back, and he's like,
That's
holding
another
on to
really funny
Anakin's-
scene
yeah.
of his face. He's like, I
Meanwhile,
was
he's
like,
so
when I was watching, I
powerful.
was like, you should just drop him, drop him,
Yeah.
drop him right now. Anyways,
Yeah.
that whole scene is it's good stuff.
All right, so let's go into our top favorites. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do mine first because Mike just talked about it, which is the final lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, I'll call him, because he's
Yeah,
Vader at
there
that
you go.
point, not Anakin. Yeah, I like the cinematography and the choreography, the music, and I like the ridiculous lightsaber moves, the
You do?
completely unnecessary, ridiculous lightsaber moves,
Oh,
Um,
don't forget the ridiculous force push.
where they're both
Where
force
they're both
pushing
like,
each other. Yeah, yeah, and they both just go flying.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
pretty cool. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't hate that scene. You know,
I don't know
sounds
why
like
you
I
hate it,
that.
Mike.
I don't hate that
It's-
scene.
I
I
don't
love
know
that.
why you
I
hate
love
it.
that whole scene. I love this whole movie. It's my number
So-
one. Okay.
When I was writing why I like this movie or like why I like this part, I put what the things I just said, and then I just put this just has it all, and I thought of like Stefan from SNL. It's like this place,
scene
this
has
place has it all.
Lightsabers. Oh crap!
Stop knocking that off.
Lightsabers. Force push. Lava. Little droid guy carrying lava.
Isn't Stefan the one that always goes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
And then of course the part at the end with Obi-Wan screaming, "You were my brother, and I loved you," and all that stuff. So I just wish that like he would have just like killed him. You know what I mean? He thought it was over, but
yeah.
I thought that too because he's like burning. I was like, if Obi-Wan was compassionate, wouldn't he like want to just like chop his head off real quick so he doesn't just like
Yeah.
melt there? Like, yeah, that didn't quite make sense.
or just like save him.
Gracious thing to do.
Like, what if Obi-Wan would have taken him? Would have Anakin have changed his mind?
I don't think so.
Then I
was
think
like,
episode
he's-
4, 5, and 6 would make very little sense.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It's too far gone. I mean,
There's a lot that happens.
he's yelling "I hate you" when he's burning to a crisp.
Yeah, but like if
he's not
someone
gonna,
else
like,
pushed you into
change that.
lava, you'd probably be like, "I hate you." But if then they like saved you, and then
Yeah.
you're like, "Hey man, it was just a little argument. Let's be friends."
Sorry about this.
Sorry, I got on your wife's ship and followed her here.
Yeah.
You betrayed me. You brought him here. Yeah.
Oh man.
That whole part there kind of confuses me with Padme as well because like she's like kind of pregnant and then like 2 days later she's like giving birth to twins. And I'm like, usually if you're carrying twins you're like huge and she's not, and I don't understand the pregnancy timeline, but
Yeah,
don't-
they were premature.
I actually
but they were huge.
thought
Did you
about
see them?
that.
I know.
She gave
George
birth to
Lucas
3
didn't
months
think
old.
through that. Go ahead, Molly.
Because are they actually humans? No. So their gestational period would be different than humans.
Wait, why aren't they humans?
Because they're not
humans.
from our galaxy. So they're not our type of human.
That's deep.
Maybe it's possible.
I'm just saying.
Maybe. I don't know.
They don't have to be the same human as us.
Well, that's true.
Molly, all humans are the same. Okay.
Except for once in Star
Red
Wars.
and yellow,
apparently.
black and white.
Cool.
Mike, what about you? We'll go reverse order this time.
Well, okay, wait. Can I just? So mine was that scene too, and I almost have literally
Yeah.
nothing else to add to it because you guys have just talked about.
Yeah.
But I
sorry.
mean, so again, you're making fun of my favorite things. I loved like the idea of Padme, Obi-Wan sneaking on there. It made narrative sense,
Right.
of
Yeah,
why
yeah,
Anakin
totally.
would even turn on her too.
Right.
That Anakin's. I feel like it would have been very easy to make Anakin's like descent into madness and evilness just like be arbitrary and just like I'm
Right.
evil now, so I hate everybody. But it's like I felt like there's just enough believable stuff in there for him to be like paranoid of like maybe Padme wasn't on the whole time, and maybe like these Jedi actually like I think he actually kind of believed that they were like taking over, and so yeah, I hadn't thought about that a whole lot. But
Yeah.
Padme bringing Obi-Wan.
But that's
Yeah,
all.
very
That's all
true.
Palpatine, which is why that's just like I think I wrote that down when I was watching like the manipulation and like I think there's even like the dreams like Anakin was having about Padme dying. I think I think Palpatine was manipulating and kind of giving him those because then he knew about them. Like
Right.
I don't think he had told Palpatine. He knew that.
Yeah.
And then that's like his main thing that he uses to when he's down on the ground. Help me, I'm too weak. And he's like, the power to save Padme. Right? And that's why he does that because
And then
he
Mace
wants-
Windu is like, for the striking blow, he's like, no one cut my hand off. Okay, here we go.
too
I'm
big
like,
of a
you
wind
already-
up.
like-
Just jab it.
Like you're like an inch from his neck. Just like push it. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
Another thing about that scene, but about the whole movie, is like I feel like this is one of the most intense PG movies. I like quick looked it up. I was like,
No, that's
at first I was like, I
PG-13,
think this
isn't it?
was PG.
I thought it was
So
13.
on the box that I have, it says PG. I don't know if they changed
Really?
it or something.
I thought it was
Quick
13.
fact
I thought it was
check
the
me
only
there.
PG-13 Star Wars movie.
IMDb. Check it out.
Okay.
They'll probably kick me off of Skype. This CenturyLink's
I
not
thought
cutting
I
it.
remembered it being PG-13, and I looked at my box and it said PG on it, and I was like, this is the most intense because, like, Anakin's legs getting chopped off,
Yeah.
Count Dooku's head getting hands like right away,
Yeah.
Anakin killing those kids. Like, I was like, this is intense for a PG movie.
You got like
So-
the version that they put out for like schools, where there's like parts of the movie that are like blacked out.
No, but like the end scene with Anakin is like really.
IMDb says PG-13.
Okay, well, I'll check my box again. Maybe
Yeah,
I just
check
read
the
it, or
box.
Maybe they just printed it wrong.
Swipe
Yeah.
up to see the back of Dan's box.
Yeah, I was watching that scene today with my 6-month-old, and he was on the ground and like he'll like periodically peer up at the TV and like watch.
Yeah.
I like actively I didn't let him watch that scene. I was like, this is like not cool. Like he's
Yeah.
burning to a crisp and he doesn't have arms and legs and like he's like screaming. It's like pretty not great. Like, yeah.
Pretty.
I mean, it's great. it's really cool, but yeah, it's
Maybe
just
not for a 6-month-old.
not for a 6-month-old.
Since-
He doesn't know what's happening. It doesn't.
Since we're talking about the scene anyways, I was going to bring this up later, but I popped in the bonus disc after watching
to do
the
that.
movie. Actually, I did that today. And they have a documentary on there called, I'm not going to remember, Within a Minute, I think it's called. And the whole documentary focuses on just that scene. The whole, however long it is, scene of the fighting between
Mhm.
Obi-Wan and Vader, and it goes through like each process, like storyboarding and props and everything from start to finish. And it was interesting. One thing that I didn't ever think about before was like how their costumes have to change because each time as they progress, their costumes get torn up and lava bits get on them and burn them up, and like so they had like 17 shirts that Anakin had. And like 18 different pairs of slacks, and like each like one lined up was worse and worse and worse. I was like, oh yeah, it's just like things you don't even think
That's awesome.
about when.
That's
Attention
cool.
to detail.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it was a pretty good documentary. I didn't get through all of it before the kids threw
I'll
a
have to
fit.
watch
They're
that one.
like, when is the movie starting?
They
No,
don't
this
care
is just
about
bonus
this.
features.
Yeah. Oh,
I didn't let them watch the movie. I'm not a terrible parent, so
You didn't watch.
Maybe if my box said PG on it, maybe. But
Yeah, I didn't know.
All right, sorry, Mike. Back to you. I got you.
I mean, we kind of already talked about it.
oh yeah,
I chose my number one to be the Palpatine Yoda
yeah,
duel, and for the reasons that we all already said. I love the force push with Sidious is hilarious.
yeah.
And Yoda's talking, in that scene, and
But can we just talk about when that scene? I guess it's earlier with Mace, when he takes like these other masters up to
Oh my
take
gosh.
him. I'm like, this is like, oh my word! It makes
Yeah,
me so
no,
angry.
that-
Yeah, are
could've
they
been done
really
better.
masters?
Yeah, there's 4 of them up there, and they like walk in
They
like
get
they're
like slaughtered in like a second.
yeah.
like
So
even Kid
stupid.
Fisto, he's been like
Yeah.
around forever, and he's awesome, and yeah.
It's just Ian McDermott. yeah. Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah. No, that was a little. Yeah, that still annoys me. But
Like, I would rather them just take it like if Mace himself would have just gone by himself and they had a cool lightsaber fight, rather than take these other 3 guys that die right away. Like that, what's the point of that?
well, it would have been even cooler if they wouldn't have died right away. Like if he had fought all 3 of them and
Yeah.
like slowly
Right, knocked them off one
knocked
by
them off
one.
one by one. Like
Yeah.
that would have been impressive.
It would have been more impressive if they would have had a longer fight,
yeah,
even for Palpatine.
more impressive for Palpatine.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But alas,
Oh no, that Sith Lord is jumping at me. I'm a Jedi
he
Master.
did spiral jump, and that was pretty sick.
Yeah, but still, I feel like you could just move to the side.
It's treason, then. You threaten me.
Does he always have that lightsaber like ready to like eject out of his? What if he would have missed it? That would have been funny. It's treason. That push. Oh, excuse me. I'm picking this up.
Just force. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Molly, what's your favorite?
Right. Well, mine is very different than anybody's. They're tied for first
Okay.
because I can't choose between them.
Okay.
But they're kind of all happening at the same time. So I absolutely love / hate, but love the scene where Anakin is leading that like huge army into the Jedi Temple, and like that music is playing,
so
and then it
cool in
ends
that
with
scene.
like,
Oh my word.
oh, I just love it. Like, it just, I don't know, he just
They like
looks
film
so
it from
powerful.
above, and like he walks in,
Yeah.
and the shadows are there, and like all the
Yeah.
clones are
Yeah,
behind
sorry, I don't want to steal your thunder, Molly, but Hayden Christensen
you're
looks so cool as not
him. A Jedi.
mechanized Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yes.
oh my word, he looks so cool.
One
Like,
thing
yeah.
He does.
One thing I've been wanting to talk about forever, and I want to put a whole podcast episode for this, is what if Vader would not have gotten cut into pieces in his fight against Obi-Wan, and it
Yeah.
would be like Hayden Christensen. And me and Molly have talked about doing an episode on that before, and someday we're going to do that. But just like, how would it be different if Vader wasn't in a suit and black mask? Like,
Yeah.
what would be different?
I
But,
think he looks awesome.
yeah,
Anyways,
he does.
Fully
So-
agree with you there, Molly.
Thanks.
And you said there was 2 that were tied?
Well, yeah. So, like, okay, so there's 2 that I guess it's kind of 3. Well, anyways, so there's this scene where and I actually think it might be with the Viceroy, actually, when he like goes up to kill the Separatists, and he like turns his face,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
like my favorite. I remember taking a picture of it when I was like 15, and it was like my phone background for years because I just thought it was so cool when he like turns his head. And his
It's
like
half of the
hood is kind of over, and his eyes are like kind of yellow, and he just
Yeah.
like looks so, I don't know, that whole thing with Anakin I guess Vader, when he like walks in and it's the music and he just looks so powerful and evil.
Yeah.
But along with that, my favorite line that happens in that whole time is when it's my favorite line in all of Star Wars is when Padme goes, and this is how liberty dies,
Yeah.
with thunderous applause.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I don't know why. So, and I think those 2 things happening together is really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my
It's
favorite.
all Jar Jar's fault. He gave us emergency powers, and so he did.
That was more manipulation by Palpatine.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's true.
Yeah. Don't blame Jar Jar. He's my favorite Monopoly piece. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That he is. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
guess-
so I just
yeah.
think that.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just think that whole part like just shows like. Well, I feel like Padme's line shows the humanity of like just life in general, like how quickly liberty can die. But then like I just think it shows how evil Darth Vader is when he's like walking into the palace and he's like fine killing all these kids and he's, I don't know, just causing destruction wherever he goes.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I guess on that line, I know a lot of Hayden Christensen gets a lot of whatever for his
Flack.
acting. Yeah, flack for his act. But I think he's great in this movie. I mean, some of the
agree.
lines he says are not the best. Like,
Sure.
love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can. Like, it's like, George, come on, man. That's a lame line. But like his like facial expressions and like Molly, what you were talking about with like when he turns evil and like, he's really, really good. I really like him in this movie.
I don't knock on George's the big GL's writing too much because I think, like he said, it is for like younger kids. He didn't write it for older kids, like adults, 30-year-old people. So when you have like simplistic, like even in Attack of the Clones, when you have like cheesy kind of love story type of language, like younger generations understand that. Where if it was like more complicated drama, like you would see in like a, I don't know, like a TV drama or something. I don't know. It's just like kids don't understand the feelings as much as when Anakin so bluntly and ridiculously says them. I'd much rather dream about Padme. You're so weird, Anakin.
You have issues, man.
Keep that to yourself.
Go have a therapy session with Yoda.
Yeah, really.
I thought about that a lot, Ryan, when I was watching it this time. Just about how, like, it does remind me of, like, movies that I really liked as, like, a 13, 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Like, there was drama, there was action, but it wasn't, like, complicated.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. He was writing it for a young crowd. So, I don't know.
I like the part with Padme brushing her hair out on the balcony.
I want to have a baby on the boo.
Back in the lake country.
You can go back early and fix up the baby's room.
Melody's like, why is he making her brush her hair outside? Is he tired of hair all over the apartment? Do that outside.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That was good. That was some good parts we had there.
Yeah.
Any other notes that you guys wanted to bring up before we kind of bring a wrap to this?
I don't know if this is I should have probably mentioned this earlier with the honorable mentions. But the fight scene it's really short, but with Obi-Wan and Yoda fighting the clones outside the temple.
Mm-hmm. That part.
So cool.
Yeah, Yoda throws his lightsaber.
Yeah.
And like jumps
gets on
off the
him and,
droid.
like, pulls it off. And so
That's why I think Yoda could have so easily beat Palpatine. That makes me so angry. Like, I don't know. The part where Yoda's on Kashyyyk and the two clone troopers come up.
The clone guys.
Yeah, in one
so
jump.
Cool.
Two at the same time.
It's like,
yeah.
Boop.
Yeah.
And the Wookiees don't even flinch. They're just like, oh,
They're like,
okay.
yeah, hop on, Yoda. We gone. So,
Thank you, Chewbacca.
what about you guys? Any other last notes, thoughts?
I did think about, like, so, like, Jedis are supposed to be able to, like, sense stuff. And I thought about two things. Like, how did nobody but Yoda sense Order 66 happening? And then, why did
You
they
mean
just
like as it was
decide that
happening?
this... Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like, no other Jedi, it's like every other Jedi was like, oh, and it was like,
Right,
they died. It just seemed like they're supposed to, like, sense these kinds of things, and they didn't. And then the other thing I thought about was, like, why did they ever trust this clone army in the first place?
Because they needed it.
Like, how did... I guess so.
They needed something to defeat the separatist droid army. And this one was like,
I
oh,
guess that's true.
luckily they have 1 million units ready to go. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of... They had to take this or they didn't have an army. The Jedi couldn't
Yeah, I
fight
guess that's
by
true.
themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
My theory on that is that, like, with the whole Clone Wars thing, the Jedi had gotten so far away from their, like, original, not goal, but their original purpose,
Ideals,
that I think it may have clouded their. Well, I think that's why Plagueis and Palpatine could hide
right.
if he was a Sith Lord for so long, and maybe because of that,
They weren't focused
they
on
weren't really focused on what they should have been focused on.
where they were going.
yeah.
I think it
what they
dulled
were
their
doing.
senses a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It also happened at the same time, pretty much, right?
What?
Order 66?
Yeah, but Yoda felt it before he was attacked.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. But even if they had noticed, there wouldn't have been much they could have done, really. I
Yeah.
mean, the one guy, what's his name? Big tall forehead.
Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah. He like knows what's going on and tries, but
Right.
he can't do anything.
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Ayla Sakura didn't really have that much of a chance.
Yeah, that one
The
was a little
blue,
bit.
the blue Twi'lek. Yeah, she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Plo Koon. Ah,
Yeah,
so sad.
that's. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have put Mace.
Anyways,
I would put
that's it.
Mace in that starfighter to get shot down before Plo Koon.
He's still flying down in Coruscant.
He's still falling
Without a hand.
currently.
Power.
I think Mace is going to come back in Rise of Skywalker.
with the Emperor.
Maybe he's
Guys, I
Snoke.
found my hand.
What are you saying, Molly?
Maybe he's.
I
Snoke.
said maybe he's Snoke.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
Okay, well we can wrap it up there. That was good.
Yeah.
So let's take another break here for our sponsor, and we'll be back in just a minute. And we're back.
Is that going in the YouTube video?
Yeah, that's all in the YouTube video.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's no ad to put there yet, so I have to come up with an ad here in the next week and put it there. So, what was it? Oh yeah, let's do the random Star Wars fact of the podcast. And since we've talked about it a ton already, and it's my favorite scene, this week's fact is about the lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Vader. So, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen trained for 2 months in fencing, and in preparation for their epic battle. As a result, the speed at which Kenobi and Vader engage in the duel is the actual speed in which it was filmed. So that's pretty interesting. It wasn't
sped up.
yeah, digitally altered or sped up or anything, which was pretty impressive. And I saw on the documentary today that it was like 77,000 man hours to make that scene
That scene.
on Mustafar. Yeah, so
It's a lot of CGI.
pretty crazy. Yeah, lots of CGI. They showed a lot of scenes of it's basically just Ewan and Hayden, and it's like an entire building of green screen, and they're standing on green platforms, and it's like Ewan was saying how hard it is to act when you have nothing around for reference. So,
Right.
But yeah, I found that pretty impressive. That they also talked about in the documentary how they had stunt doubles for them, but they were used so little because they wanted to do all their own stuff. So
That's cool.
they said Hayden Christensen said he still has scars on his hands from where they'd like collide, with the sticks, or their hands and stuff like that would collide when they were practicing or stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, if it was impressive at normal speed and they didn't have to speed up, imagine at 1.5 speed how awesome it looked today when I was watching.
Yeah, 1.5
You're like,
times
whoa, these guys are really going at it.
Yeah, good point. And that is your fact of the podcast. So before we sign off here, we got a new review. The podcast did.
Nice.
And I think this is like the first one that I don't know who the reviewer is. I looked at the name and I'm like,
Nice.
You shouldn't admit
don't
those
think
things.
I know who that is. That's okay.
Not Spicy J.
It's not Spicy J or Spicy Day or, yeah, anyone
Walu,
else.
I heard that
we,
guy's cool.
we didn't know him. We don't know who Spicy J is.
Spicy J, we don't know.
No.
Only through the podcast. I feel like I know him on a some sort of level.
Seems familiar somehow.
All right, so they said 5 stars. Awesome. They say love it.
Wait. Who is they?
Oh, the new review that we got. It is
Yeah. Do you have?
Andrea D89.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh. I just think I figured out who it is. Oh, I know this person.
No.
All right. Well, they still gave us 5 stars, so that's awesome. Thanks, Andrea D89. They say, love it. Lighthearted, funny, thoughtful commentary on Star Wars and a little of everything else. I look forward to each new episode.
Nice.
That's funny because I think I know who that is, and I didn't realize they listened to the show. So
Nice.
in my mind, that's a new listener I didn't even know listened. So cool. Thanks again, Andrea D. And if you guys would like to leave a review, it's supposed to be really helpful for the podcast for people to find out where we are and what we were doing. So you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And thanks, Molly, Guacamole. Dan it like
You're welcome.
bend it. What is it? Bend it like Danum.
You said it differently every time you said it. Which is pretty great.
We'll have to go
I
up with
think I
something
like-
else.
Yeah.
No, I think I like Dan it like bend it.
Yeah,
The best.
Dan it like bend it.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the first time anyone's ever said that about your name. I'm pretty positive, right? No one's ever said
Oh, yeah.
bend it like Beckham.
Yeah, this is original.
Have you ever introduced yourself as Dan Bendit and someone said, like Beckham? Has anyone replied just like that?
I don't think so. I'll sometimes say bend it, don't break it. That's
Oh,
what I say.
nice.
People look confused.
Sweet.
Nice. And thanks, Mike, for being on the show. Thanks,
I don't have a
everyone.
nickname, do I?
I think it's just the
Mother,
MF
father,
therapist. MF therapist.
Yeah.
Oh, that
That's me.
sounds so not good.
Well, if you listen to our dadding episodes,
Yeah.
it always he's
Father.
he's a mother
Father therapist.
father therapist. It's actually marriage
Marriage
and
and family
family
therapist.
therapist. But it gets misconstrued at times. So the MF there.
Oh, because
Only
that's
by
what
you.
like you actually do,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's his actual career.
I forgot.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. It's all good.
It's been a minute.
It's all good.
Thanks everyone for listening. You can find us on social media at Sorta Star Wars. That's at SORTA Star Wars. And you can send us an email, sortastarwars@gmail.com. And that is going to be a wrap. So be safe. Be courteous.
Bye.
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 Yo, shoot.
Bye.
Bye.
Do it. Do it.